Yeah, it's been about 2 weeks since my last post. Nothing really has happened, to be honest. I've changed to a different site for work. My hours have dropped a little bit, which enables me to be able to go to the gym now, which is good because my physique is lacking. I feel very scrawny now. I'm in a different vehicle as well, so I've changed cars. Other than that, nothing's really changed. My investment portfolio, I might as well mention actually, it is struggling right now. Yeah, it's been dumping quite a bit, especially today. I think today alone, my portfolio has gone down £700, which is just crazy. But it doesn't affect me as much as it used to, which is good. It's good to build that tolerance up when you're young, because when you're older, you have a lot more responsibility. You might have a lot more money, so there's a lot more money that you lose and a lot more risk, because the responsibility you have may lead you to have to pull up money whenever to just cover said responsibilities, and I don't have that luckily, so I'm just chilling. I can just throw money away in a sense. But of course, I've invested in MicroStrategy because I believe in the future. I'm not just blindly investing in it. But it does hurt a little bit, to be fair, watching that fluctuation day to day. But I've not really been checking my portfolio too much. I have been deleting the app, but then ever since that single day 25% move, I downloaded the app again, my broker's app again, and I haven't deleted it, and I've been checking it practically daily, which is not a good habit to have. But yeah, referring back to the shift patterns, my hours have dropped a little bit, so I'm going to start going gym again. Tomorrow I'm training chest and biceps. I'm also going to pick up on more driving lessons, because I want to get my license as soon as possible. I put it off for the longest time because I genuinely just didn't need it. There'd be no benefit apart from having the luxury of being able to drive. Other than that, would be a massive waste of money. I don't really mind jumping on the train or the bus. So now that I work here, it would be more convenient for me to drive, and I'll be doing that very soon, hopefully. I think I'm maybe a month and a half, maybe 2 months at a stretch. Probably 2 months actually, because my driving instructor is going on holiday at the end of March, if I'm not wrong. So I might have to push my test date a little bit further. Hoping I pass first time. I'm expecting to pass first time personally. But we'll see when the time comes. But other than that, I've got nothing special to really mention. Apart from actually, work. It's quite difficult dealing with these older people, as I have to kind of boss them around. I was telling this one older guard that he can't spend too much time on our site. He needs to go back out front, because we've had break-ins on the site many a times in the last couple of weeks before we got offered the contract to work on the site. So it wasn't, the company or our fault in any way. We had nothing to do with it. And he was getting really angry about it, but it's genuinely a security risk. All three guards, when I say three, I mean me, the guard that I'm taking over from, and then that guy that's meant to be out front, all in one site with the gate open, while he's meant to be out front just keeping an eye on the site. So I had to tell him off, and I felt bad about it because all he wanted to do was grab a coffee and have a bit of a chat, as it's a boring job, so you can't really blame him. But at the end of the day, you have to do your job. And I told him that you're not meant to be here, and he started complaining, saying things along the line of, oh no, I'm a human, I need a break, which is fair enough, don't get me wrong, but you can't take the piss, and he's known to take the piss. And I didn't say that you're taking the piss, go out front. I just said very nicely, try not to stay in there for too long, or else if a client shows up, or if there is someone that tries to break in, that's gonna cause massive issues for us. And it started going in a bit of a strop, and it's a bit of a weird situation to be in, because I'm 19 and this guy's like 50, and I'm having to boss him around and tell him what to do. It's a bit of a weird situation to be in, and it's one thing that I've noticed over the last year and a half. As a kid, you kind of look up to adults and think, adults and think, they know everything and, very wise and smart. But then once I started working in all these other places I've worked at, including this place, it makes you start to realize that most people are a lot more stupid than you think. People are very sheep-minded, they follow what everyone else follows, which is something, I guess. But then I don't mean it in a way where I'm trying to suck up to myself and say that I'm better than people, because I'm not. I'm definitely clueless in many areas, probably most, if not all areas, and I'm lacking experience. But I wholeheartedly believe that most people are genuinely stupid, because they live life day to day, but at the same time they live life in the future, if that makes sense. They don't plan for the future, they plan day to day, but they have dreams and aspirations, and they look forward to things in the future, such as a potential goal that they want to achieve in the future. They don't work towards it in the present, or a holiday or something like that. And yeah, I feel like a mindset like that makes time pass quite quick, because you're kind of disassociating yourself from the present, and you're putting yourself in the future, I guess. And that's how you wake up one day and realize you're 30 and you're nowhere where you want to be. But anyways, I'm going on a bit of a tangent. I don't think there's anything else I can really mention, to be honest. My life is very boring, as you can tell. All I do is work, and even when I'm working, I work alone. So nothing special really happens in my life. While I am on site, not only am I getting paid to obviously be on site, I'm alone, so I can just do a bit of research, learn things. So it's quite a good job to have, to be honest. I'm very grateful for it. But I do need to progress forward, because I do see myself becoming complacent. I've been doing it for maybe 6 months now, and I definitely am getting complacent, and I need to pull myself out of it. But yeah, I've got a very boring life. A very, very boring life. Yeah, this flashlight really makes my eyebrows look bad. Yeah, it's not great. Really shows the lack of sleep I get. But yeah, actually, one more thing. Actually, no, I'll mention it another time maybe. I try not to mention too many things, because I don't want to expose myself, I guess. But at the same time, I do want to say everything that's on my mind, and I do for the most part in these videos. But because they're unscripted, I go on a whim. So my life is boring, don't get me wrong, but there is more things to my life, I guess, that I want to mention. But it just doesn't come to mind now while I'm recording. It's quite annoying, but it's definitely a skill that you pick up on as time goes on. So I'll definitely try stay consistent at least. Yeah, I'm thinking, I don't want to make recording videos a burden on myself, as I've said in the previous video, and I do want to post at least once a week. But yeah, I don't know what exactly I want to do, right? I don't know if I want to post on a certain day, if I just want to record on a whim after like a big event, for example, and post then, or anything, to be honest. I think that's really it. Oh yeah, one more thing actually. I'm very, 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 very heavily exposed to MicroStrategy / Bitcoin. When I say heavily exposed, I mean I mean like 70% of my portfolio is in Bitcoin / MicroStrategy, which is a big percentage. And I have actually been thinking for the longest time, I need to build some sort of foundation of ETFs just so they can counteract any bad decisions I may make. And then there's one guy that's actually quite similar in age to me and has very similar opinions to me, that I watch on YouTube. He posts every now and then. He's also very heavily invested in MicroStrategy. He also coincidentally mentioned him building a foundation of ETFs. I think he mentioned All World ETF, which is VWRL. And it's got me thinking, I definitely want to start building that foundation, because it has been something I've been thinking about, but I'm the type of person that's very, very risk adverse. I like risk because I know I'm young. I can take that risk because the worst comes to worst, I'm still 19 with, I like to think, unlimited potential. And if it goes well, then I'm a rich I'm a rich 19-year-old with a lot of potential. But yeah, I need to counteract a bit of that risk because it's only logical, right? I'd rather lower the potential reward a little bit, but then make that chance of reward occurring a lot more likely, which is only reasonable, or else it's just gambling, I guess, to an extent. So yeah, I'm looking into the All World ETF as well, because I don't want to be fully exposed to the US, especially because of Trump and all the shenanigans that's happening in America. America day by day is becoming less and less trustworthy, and yeah, most of their stocks are really highly valuated as well. So it's a tough situation to be in. And the All World ETF, it's roughly 60% of US stocks in general, not just the S&P, not just the top 500, just everything in the US is 60% of the ETF, so still heavily exposed to the US. So it maximizes the returns, but then it's diversified in a sense because it's 40% elsewhere, every other country, every other continent in the world. And not only that, it balances itself out. Let's say the US market starts declining and the UK market hopefully starts growing, then the All World ETF will adjust accordingly quarter to quarter or year by year. I actually don't know when they do their adjustments. I'm assuming it's quarter by quarter. And I do want to build a solid base of it, maybe like a 30% foundation where the relatively low volatility, long term it will grow, especially with how our financial systems work. You need to inflate your currency to increase productivity, and that increased money in society means assets get pushed up in price as they get bidded up, as your currency becomes less and less valuable as time goes on. And yeah, it also promotes not keeping cash, because if you keep cash, you'll be worth less and less. And the best example I've heard of is if currency was deflationary, as in it became more and more valuable, most people wouldn't spend it. Why would I buy a house for 500 grand when I can hold my money in cash and it will increase in value? The 500 grand is worth 600 grand. Why would I do that when if I hypothetically put in the property, I put 500 grand in the property, but the currency got stronger, my 500 grand property is now a 400 grand property, hypothetically. So completely inverse to our current market. So currencies have to be inflationary, which is why I also wholeheartedly believe that Bitcoin will never become, the pound or the dollar. I mean, it can never really, because it's very expensive to use anyways, and it's volatile, which I do believe that volatility will start dropping off as years come, as it stabilizes and finds its fair value price. But nonetheless, Bitcoin isn't made for that. Initially it was made to be a currency, but its newfound purpose is to be a digital store of currency like gold. It's infinitely better than gold in every way. And people's only argument against Bitcoin is that, well, two actually. what if it gets hacked? Can't really get hacked. It can always get hard forked. And what if internet gets cut off? I just put the middle finger off by accident. Which is a bit of an infallible question, because I don't want to be like everyone else that answers the question and says, you know, you've got bigger issues of Wi-Fi and electricity and all that goes out. You know, you've got bigger problems, because it is a valid question. You know, you lose all your money in a sense if all your money's in Bitcoin. But I like to think of it in a different perspective, because if Wi-Fi went out, we can still use Bitcoin. You know, if a zombie apocalypse occurred, you can still use currency. You can still use Bitcoin, you can send it through, if I'm not wrong, like waves, certain waves, like radio waves, so it doesn't even rely on the internet. You can always use Bitcoin in some manner, even if you go back to, if there was some sort of zombie apocalypse. So Bitcoin's here to stay, in my opinion. It's going to inflate as time goes on, as currencies deflate. Money will have to be put somewhere, and I believe our generation has, you know, each generation had their own major event. Previous generation had the 2008 financial crisis and so on. The one before that had the tech crash. Before that, the depression, so on and so forth. You know, every generation had their big financial crash that everyone thought was going to end the world, in a sense, or end the economy. I believe ours will be hyper inflation, where, well, it will start with the dollar, and the whole world revolves around the dollar. The dollar will get inflated to oblivion, and that money has to be put somewhere. It will get pumped into the stock market, it will get pumped into the property market, it will get pumped into Bitcoin too, as a store of wealth. So in the long term, it will grow in value. I wholeheartedly believe. There is no logical way where it wouldn't. I genuinely don't believe there is a way where it won't go up in value in the long term. Day by day, yeah, it might go down, it might go up, who knows, but I believe in the long term, yes, it will go up in the long term. I'm trying to think, is there any way I believe that Bitcoin would fail because of? I can't really think of any way, unless, you know, this is like a major hypothetical. If Satoshi came back and is alive, let's say he's an individual being, I personally believe that Bitcoin was created by some sort of entity. I wouldn't even be surprised if it was made by the government. When I say the government, I mean the US government, made by the CIA. There's too many variables that go into it that look very off when you look at it from certain perspectives. But who knows? Who cares? But yeah, anyway, referring back to my point. If Satoshi came back, he has over 1 million Bitcoins, and if he tries to move that, it would cause a major crash. But then at the same time, I don't think it would kill Bitcoin. I think it would crash Bitcoin really fast and keep it down for a long period of time, sure. But yeah, I don't see it permanently crashing. Not permanently crashing, just being gone forever. And another thing, actually, what is the best way to explain that? I get these random epiphanies, and I want to say it, but then it's very hard to explain. It just comes out of nowhere. But yeah, anyways, just to try verbalize it, right? Our currencies are all built on gold, right? Initially in the US, for example, there was a gold standard before it was taken off. The foundation of currencies is gold. That's why basically every major country, every first world country has gold reserves to prop up their currency, to give it value. It's the foundation. Same way, I believe that Bitcoin can also be a foundation of a new currency, and is the foundation of Bitcoin, of crypto in general. Crypto is obviously revolutionary, and there'll be new cryptos every now and then. I kind of ignore it, to be honest, but it's a revolutionary technology, and as years go on, there will be new cryptos that are actually beneficial for society or actually revolutionary. Why do I keep saying actually? Actually. Um, yeah. So to simplify it, so this is a new technology, a new asset class, and Bitcoin will be the foundation of that. Bitcoin is will be the slow but well recognized gold, I guess. Same way how gold is very slow, sluggish, hard to move around, slow appreciating. Apart from in the last couple of years, it's been parabolic. But point aside, it was stagnant for about a 30-year period. I believe Bitcoin will get to that stage when it matures, potentially decades from now, when it's actually been implemented internationally within governments, and governments potentially build their currency on Bitcoin. Of course, it's a hypothetical, and yeah. I feel like I'm missing a subsect of that point I was trying to make. I like these videos though. I was actually thinking before I started recording, maybe like 2 hours ago, that these videos are very good because it engages your brain on a level, and it forces your brain to come up with topics and make you talk to yourself, and you're not having anyone talk and reply back, so you have nothing to build on. So it definitely improves your social skills to an extent, because you're talking to yourself. You've got no one to build a rapport on. Not rapport. What would be a better word? To I guess, I mean, just to simplify it, you've got nothing to build on. You've got nothing someone else said to build on. You're having to now make another point yourself, and you have to keep doing it over and over and over and over again for so far 22 minutes. And that definitely helps in social settings, because if I can just blurt non-stop, just keep saying things, it definitely helps, and you won't just have a brain fart mid-conversation. So I'm actually quite happy with uploading. I just need to not forget about it, but I don't think I will. It's because I've just started uploading again, which is why I've not really prioritized it in my mind, but I do genuinely enjoy recording these videos. But I do think before I start recording, I need to create like a bullet point list, maybe 2-3 topics in the back of my head before I start recording. Because before I recorded this video, I pulled out my phone and said, I pulled out my phone, started recording, then started talking. And then while I was talking, trying to think, what can I talk about? What do I want to mention? But if I can think of that beforehand, it gives my mind a bit of time to start coming up with points that I want to make or things I want to mention. Anyways, this torch has been sitting on my lap for ages and it's burning. But yeah, just to summarize the entire video, I'm a retard and I don't know what I'm doing. But hopefully years down the line, this is somewhat useful for myself. Because if I'm a bum 5 years from now, which I wholeheartedly believe I'm not, I don't believe I'm a bum now. I feel like being a bum is I saw a video where this guy said that being a bum isn't a what is it? A characteristic, is a state of mind, aka being a bum isn't something you do. No, that's not a way. I'm trying. This is why I need to start thinking before I talk. Well, not think before I talk. Sorry, I mean know what I'm going to talk about before I say it. No, but what I picked up from that was, most people think someone's a bum because they have no money or they don't have whatever is deemed societally a good thing, I guess. But that guy was making the point of being a bum is a mindset. You know, you could be rich but be a bum, but then you can also be broke, like I believe I am, even though I am doing better than most people, alhamdulillah. But not be a bum. It's just how you carry yourself, what your aspirations are, if you're working towards your goals, and so on. But anyways, I need to get to work. 25 minutes. It's gonna take a while to upload, but yeah, I'm hoping 10 years down the line, when I'm pushing 30, that I look back and smile. You know, I look back and I'm happy that I'm making the dumb decisions I am now, because for the longest time, well, only for the last few weeks, I've been kind of letting things slide with other gods. You know, I'm being a bit too soft, a bit too nice, and I wasn't really putting my foot down. And yesterday I decided to put my foot down, and it blew up in my face in a good way. You know, they're a bit upset with me, but now they know they can't push me around. And it's little things like that that makes me realize that you think you're doing well, but there's always little inconsistencies that you don't even notice until afterwards, after it's changed. And you think you're that guy in a sense, but you're really not. But anyways, I need to get to work before I get sacked. Yeah, okay.